Hi everybody. This video is going to be an introduction to a research database called Opposing Viewpoints. For purposes of this video, I have my MS Office OneDrive open and I'm logged into my academic institution. From the landing page, I need to scroll down until I find the library card. And once I do, I'm going to select Library Home, which will take me to the library landing page. From here, I can select A to Z list of databases here, or I can select it from here. It doesn't matter which one, they both will take you to the A to Z list of databases landing page. I'm going to select O and then scroll down until I find Opposing Viewpoints. I always suggest that you read the information beneath the database because it'll let you know if this is a database you need to use for your research. Opposing Viewpoints is a good place for new researchers to start because it's fairly comprehensive and it's user-friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and select Opposing Viewpoints, and now I'm going to be taken to the Opposing Viewpoints database. I was already logged in to my academic institution, so it took me right here. If you get a pop-up that says to log in, then obviously do that, and it'll take you from there to this page. You can, if you want to, put in some search terms in the search box that's right here. What I like about Opposing Viewpoints, however, is it gives you a way to browse the issues. So I'm going to come over here and select Browse Issues. And then I'm going to have a number of issues or topics, if you prefer, that I can take a look at. As issues receive new information or there's something new or different that needs to be added to the database, Gale will do so. Gale's actually the publisher of the database, and they'll put this little note here that it's been updated. I, however, am going to scroll down to Juvenile Justice System because it's a database I use in my classes. So once I get here, I'm going to select it, and it's going to take me to the overview page for the issue. This is a really great place to start because if you're in a class and you're asked to write something about a topic you're not familiar with, an overview is key. I'm going to go ahead and select Read More, and from there I will be taken to a much longer overview of the topic. When you scroll down, what you will find is in general two boxes, two infographics, if you will, or text features we call them. The first one is going to have main ideas, they call it a sidebar here. And then the next one is going to have critical thinking questions. So look at the main ideas to give you an overview of the overview, and then look at the critical thinking questions so that you can sort of start engaging more with the topic so that you know where you might want to go in your research. So I'm going to scroll back up here. I just want you to become familiar with some of the features of this database. Now, one of the things you want to be able to do is to read this and to read it well. That may mean changing some of the style features. If you want to make the font size smaller, you select Decrease Font Size, and you just keep selecting it, and it'll get smaller. If you want to increase the font size, you select this one right next to it, and the font size will enlarge. Okay. Now, maybe you want to change the background a little bit or the font itself. You select the display options. I find that the green's usually a pretty good background, so I'm going to select that one. And I'm okay with the default font, but you'll note that if you select this one, it's going to change automatically. Select that one, the same thing. So those are your four choices for that. I'm going to go back to the default. You can also, if you want to, increase the line spacing. So from here, the default, I can increase it more or I can increase it most. You can also increase the letter spacing if you would like to do so. And you can increase the word spacing. If you decide that none of that's necessary, you want to go back to the default, you just tell database, go back to the default settings, and you select done. Now, another option you have is you can listen to the article. So you come over here to your little icon, I guess it's the listen icon, and you select it. Now, I haven't figured out yet how to select this and have the article read so that you can actually hear the voice. That's just something I have to work on, I guess. But I will tell you the voice is very clear, very modulated, and very easy to understand. When you do select this, you're going to get this pop up and it's going to buffer. And as soon as it's done buffering, the voice will start to speak. The voice is actually going to start to speak from the beginning of the article and then move down here to the first body paragraph. Now, maybe you don't want to sit in front of your computer and listen to this. Maybe you just have other things you need to do. You also have the option to download this as an MP3. So you're going to select the three bars here, the web reader menu, and then you come down here and select download MP3. When you do, you're going to be asked to agree to the terms of usage. So you just do that, and it's going to auto download for you. And then you decide what you want to do with that actual MP3. Another really interesting feature of this database is the translation feature. Now, a word of caution. You need to write your work in the language in which the course is taught. But if you need to hear this in a different language or read it in a different language, you can change the language setting. To do that, you come over here to the translation option. Now I'm going to select French. And you'll notice that the document changes from English to French, the title and the body paragraphs. The side over here, these don't change because you're not actually in these documents. You'll also notice that the translation is not complete. So if I scroll down to the text features, that first box that says main ideas, that's still in English. Now, to complete this, you simply say complete translation. And then you scroll all the way down and you will find that the entire article, in addition to the sidebar for the main ideas and the sidebar for the critical thinking questions, are now all in French. I'm going to scroll back up to this. Another interesting thing is if you stay in the language you've chosen and you come over here to the listen feature, the article will then be read in the language you have selected. So it's a really, really cool thing that you can do. I'm going to go ahead and ask this to go back to the original document, and you'll see that now everything is back in English. Well, maybe you want to keep this article, which actually is a good idea. You want to start building your folder of research, and you don't have time to really read it right now. You want to download it, and you think I'm going to go up to the top here. You can't really see my corner and download it as a file up here, or I'm going to right click and save it. That's just way too much work. You can do the saving within the Opposing Viewpoints database. All you need to do is select Send To. And when you do, you have the option to send it to your Google Drive, your OneDrive, or your email. I'm going to select my OneDrive, which is already open. I'm going to hope that it actually opens to the right OneDrive. And it's going to tell me the documents have been sent to my MS OneDrive. They're going to appear in my Office 365 shortly. I honestly can tell you that the time it took me to say that, when I go back to my OneDrive, I'm going to refresh my browser, and you guys are going to know to be a file folder that says Gale in Context Opposing Viewpoints. You can tell that it was just populated because I've got my three little lines here, and it says a few seconds ago. So I'm going to go ahead and open that folder up, and when I do, here is the article that I was just reading. Now, it's reproduced for me the beginning header, and if you scroll all the way down past the header and the body paragraphs, you're going to find at the end of the document, it's a pretty long overview. They've provided for me the MLA source citation for the document. So all I've got to do is copy this and put it into my works cited list if I use the article, and put it into my AB whether or not I quote the article in my final paper. So that is your brief introduction to Gale Opposing Viewpoints, a really great database. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to let me know or reach out to one of the librarians. They are always ready and willing to help.